right, welcome back to another episode of the After Hours podcast. This week I'm joined by a couple gentlemen. We're going to actually circle back to the episode Zach and I did last week, speaking about the truths of life. And I appreciate, Jared and Giovanni coming on the show today.
Yes, sir.
How you guys doing, gentlemen?
Great, man.
Feeling great.
Doing great.
Back
I
on
saw
the
you
pod.
15 minutes ago. We were in the same room with each other.
You're always feeling great, man. That's why I love your positivity and humor and everything that you bring to this.
Being optimistic. That's what we do.
Man.
Keep smiling.
And Zach, I appreciate you coming back to
Yeah, of course.
co-host of The Journey.
Here we go.
Thanks for taking the time, brother.
Yeah.
So we might as well get right into things. I know, you started asking some questions on the last episode that, it's nice to kind of dig into those things because I feel like the whole reason we do this is to, kind of get away from what we all do on a what we do on a daily basis, and that's the nonstop, grind of being in the finance world. And yeah, let's get right into it, man. So if you want to kind of take over and
So
let's rock and roll.
yeah, Dean and I did 1 through 5 last week.
Okay.
This is something that we've done with the Journey. We've done it twice. So we'll jump right into it. Number 6, you don't have to wait for an apology to forgive. Life gets much easier when you learn to accept the apologies you never received. The key is find some level of peace with every experience, positive or negative. In a way, it's like taking a step back, letting go a little, and navigating each life experience with an open mind. It's realizing that grudges from the past are a perfect waste of today's growth and potential, and that holding one is like letting unwanted company live rent-free in your head. Ultimately, forgiveness is a promise, one you want to keep. When you forgive, you are making a promise not to hold the unchangeable past against your present self. It has nothing to do with freeing a past criminal of his or her crime, and everything to do with freeing yourself of the burden of being an eternal victim.
Yeah. I've always spoke about a couple of things like dwelling on the past, because if you sit there and, whether it's in your business or stuff that you're going through in life,
Right.
dwelling on the stuff that you went through before today, it's, how could you ever move in a forward direction? That goes with anything in life. Like I said, from my experiences at least, I've gone through, challenges, at work and in my personal life. And when you sit there and try to figure out why did this go wrong, or, what did I do wrong, and not realize that those are stepping stones, to something bigger and better, you have to realize that you can't ever look back. You have to just keep moving forward. So that's something I always like talking about. I'm sure you guys could speak on that a little more.
Yeah. I think the forgiving people, it really...
You forgive, you don't forget.
You don't
That's something
forget.
I
I
always
definitely
heard
definitely don't
growing
forget.
up.
Yeah.
You don't forget it.
You don't
you never
forget.
you never forget it. It doesn't matter if it happened when you were a kid. You still remember sometimes only the bad things. But I think it also has to do with where you are at that time in your life, where you are with yourself. How are you healed with yourself? Are you going through the hardest time with yourself? Because if you are going through a hard time, you're definitely not going to forget what that person did. As far as being or younger or older, as you get older, you learn to maybe not sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Going through stuff like you went through as a child, losing a parent,
Right.
You learn that no matter what happens in life, that you have to just move in a forward direction.
You have to move.
Once you go through something like that.
Because you could hate the world at that
It's
point.
either
you know,
or.
and just,
It's either it kills you or it makes you stronger. And you have two examples of right here, me and Zach, of what you can turn it into, and that's living your life to the best of your ability, and making sure that you don't fall victim to those same problems. That's the cheat sheet right there. From what you're like, depends on how the person passed. If the person passed doing things that wasn't natural, that were things that they could have not done, then you either learn to not do those things from that mistake, or you do those things because of your environment and from what you saw in your life, and then you end up sometimes falling victim to the same thing that the last person did.
Yeah, and Gio, I know you've gone through positive things in life, negative things in life. You've had, success in business. You've gone through adversity in business. I'm sure you could speak on a little bit about how important it is to, again, not dwell on what's happened behind you, because
Of course. I mean, again, I think we've all probably been in situations in our past where maybe we were let down by someone, or the goal that you had in mind just didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, or the situation you were in, just the end result wasn't what you expected or wasn't what you were obviously aiming for. And you can always, it's easy to point the finger at somebody else and blame somebody else for whatever that situation was that you're in at that moment, or you can take responsibility for it and own it. Or how I kind of look at things and how I've always gotten past adversity is everything happens for a reason. For whatever reason that I had to jump over these hurdles, for whatever reason I'm down and out, or for whatever reason that I'm going through these times, it's building me to be the man that I'm going to become, and it's going to take my mindset to a different level where I can deal with that adversity moving forward, right? So,
There's a purpose for everything, man.
yeah,
No
I
matter
mean,
what it is.
again, problems are, it's not the absence of problems. It's how you deal with them, right? Very easy to, kind of shelter away and say, I'm not going to deal with it, or I'm not going to move forward, or I'm going to give up, or just wake up every day, no matter what you're feeling, and keep pushing forward. Try and put the past behind you and move forward. But if you're dwelling on the past, if you're not forgiving those people that have hurt you or that have let you down, you're living in the past. Right. You're letting that hold you back, and you're going to stay where you are.
An hour ago, you didn't want to come here. You're here. So no matter what you
And again,
feel, you're here.
it's exactly that.
You have to do it.
You
no
have
matter
to do it.
what
I'm not gonna lie. Today was one of those days where I woke up and I said, "Today's not my day. I'm not feeling it. Just not feeling it." Came in. Now, again, this is a good example of kind of what I'm kind of get at is, it's all up here, right? So I started my day out in the wrong mindset. I started my day out saying, "I'm not in the mood for it. It's a rainy day. I'd rather not." Right. No matter what, I still got up. I still showed up. But my mindset, that was how I felt today. So throughout the day, as you guys saw in the office, dealing with just adversity in small ways, right? Just technical difficulties, trying to set, programs up for the team. Just things just weren't working out that way. But it's also because of, in my mind, I had that negative outlook on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You speak things in, and I guess you act things into existence.
Yeah.
We always say you speak things into existence, but your actions lead to, I feel like, sometimes future results or how your day is going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
When I wake up with that negative mindset, or that mindset that's not, going to spread positivity to who I'm around and myself, it's hard to have a good day.
It just spirals. It just kind of, you go in, that's your day. That's how you go about your day, because you started it off that way.
Everything adds up, starts piling on, and
But then that one thing happens where you're like, all right, I turned it around. And now, like, the whole day then goes the right way. It's funny how it works.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's a part of life,
and then it goes back into the wrong thing. See, like, you can't expect for things not to happen bad. Like, you can't expect for bad things not to happen. The only thing that you can do is gather all the things that have happened to you that were bad, and make sure that once you do come around to those things again, you have the answer for them already.
Yeah.
You know how to get past that. Most of our anxiety in going into something is really just a thought of not knowing what it's like to experience it.
What the results
Like getting nervous, like maybe your first time on a podcast, you're like, shit, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to go up there and do. I don't know how I should sit. I don't know
We
how
went
I
through
should,
this last
how I
week,
should
or
talk.
this week at a presentation that you
At
were
the
saying.
pre- at
You
the
had no idea
presentation.
what was
Not
gonna
sure what
happen.
I had
were
no
gonna-
idea
you weren't sure what you were walking
what I
into.
was
Yeah.
walking into. Was I nervous? Yeah, a little bit. But I was more so like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. I don't know what I'm walking into. Am I supposed to present a
Presentation. Yeah.
Right. So, but I went in there. With a positive mindset, and I know that I'm an expert in my business. So I'm confident enough in being able to teach people about what I do and what they should do if they want to receive my service. So I'm good with going up there, and then I went up there and I just talked, just like a normal conversation that we're having.
And you were in your head for probably days before that, not sure how it was going to go. And you just went in with, again, open mind, positive mindset, and it worked out. You came back and you're like, that was great.
Absolutely.
And it's funny. Someone told me a really long time ago that while you're in the car just on your way to work, just think about how many different moods you go through. Mm-hmm. You're angry, you get road rage, you're happy, you're laughing, you're singing to a song, you're cursing somebody out, you're sad, you're mad. It's like you go through so many different emotions throughout the day that it's all about just being able to shut it off, move on to the next thing, right? But if you dwell on that, if you dwell on the negative, that's all you're going to get.
Right.
That's all it's going to come.
Right.
So you got to be able to just turn it around or just shut it off. And even today, right, even though you saw me like a little frustrated, we made a joke, we laughed, and we got past, and we
Right.
kept it moving.
Right.
Got it done, kept it moving, and did what we had to do.
That's how you have to be.
Yeah.
Like you said, once you're in situations or similar situations so many times, you realize the way, or we like to, and we think we realize how we should handle them.
Right.
Sometimes we don't obviously always operate the right way when you handle a situation, but that comes with growth and going through different things. I feel like on a
Well,
daily basis.
a mistake made more than once is a bad habit.
Correct.
So if you're going to continue to do those same things that you know aren't right, that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
Mistake is made once. After that, you're just going into a nasty bad pattern of things and expecting for things to turn out a different way.
Yeah.
That's what
Expect
Albert
it for a different
Einstein
result,
said.
yeah.
He said you do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results. That's a definition of insanity.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zach.
Yeah, it's weird. Like forgiveness with people, people think like you want forgiveness for the other person, and it's not always that. It's usually like it's for yourself, because that is like you're solidifying evidence that you can move on from it when you forgive someone. And that's usually easy, because I mean, if you see people for what they are and someone does something to you, you have to believe them. Like a lot of the times we try to create an image of who we think people are the way that we see them, not the way that they actually are. Like we set an expectation on what a person should be instead of actually seeing people for who they are. So when people treat you how they treat you, like it's not an accident, like that's who that person is. So the forgiveness in that aspect is different. I think the toughest thing to forgive is like forgiving yourself, because if someone does you wrong and say they're not in your life anymore, you don't see them, you don't speak to them, you don't follow them on social media, you tend to forget about them. But when you do something to yourself that is unforgivable, you live with that thought every single day in your head. So when you do create those bad habits, right? When you do things that are shameful and you do things that no one else knows about, you sit in the room at night, you sit in the bed at night with those thoughts in your head. And if you can't forgive yourself for your past, then you're living every single day in regret and fear and shame. And now you're taking that energy and you're putting it into your business, into your relationships, into your life. So like that's the hardest thing to do, is like you need to be able to forgive yourself for your past, because we all make mistakes, we all grow, and if you're not able to learn from them and understand that like that's not you anymore, you're going to be stuck there, and then you're going to carry that baggage with you into every single aspect of your life. So
Absolutely.
like that's the hard shit to do, is like forgiving yourself, because we all carry shit that we don't want other people to know.
Of course.
And you think about it, you know what I'm saying? Like something will trigger that thought or that memory, like I've been here before, like I know how I've handled this, or I know how I did this, and like nobody else may know. And that's a scary thing, when it's like when you have to lie to yourself to make other people try to believe you. And it's like if you can't be real with yourself, like you can't be real with anyone.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Hard truth. Right
And I look at it in a couple ways, because I feel like people sometimes say like it's good to get things off your chest like that, like you're talking about. We all have done things that you don't want other people to know, and that's just human nature.
Yeah.
I feel like, but is that always? I mean, they say it's good to talk to people. I feel like it's good to speak about things you've gone through, because it gives advice to somebody maybe going through that same thing in life. But I feel like that's always going to be the case. We always have those things that, whether it was a bad decision or something that like, how the heck did I do that?
Yeah.
That. I don't know if it's just speaking that to the world and sharing that. I mean, I don't know. Does
It's
that
always-
help
Getting
you?
it
Does
out
that
of your
help you
head.
as a person?
Yeah.
Is getting it out of your head by telling somebody else? Is that getting
Does
it out
that
of
help?
like just because he knows now? Like, does that mean like, all right, we're good? Like, I don't know. What is
I-
that?
Yeah, right.
I saw a quote the other day from Jordan Peterson. He says, "If you have something to say, then silence is a lie." So, so like a lot of the times, like we try to stay quiet, we try to hold everything in, we try to not let people know. When it's like, if you have something to say it.
Meanwhile, you walk out of that situation and you feel more regretful than anything for not saying it.
Right.
That's like to the first point of that you made about it's not about forgiving that person, it's about forgiving yourself. How many times have you ran into a situation where someone got slick of the mouth and you didn't do anything and you were like, damn, I should have knocked that dude out. And that just sits with you for that whole night as eating you up. And the next few days they can apologize and you're still like, damn, am I a punk or am I
Right.
like what?
And they've moved on.
And they moved on.
Yeah,
from it.
yeah.
And you forgave them.
He's
Forget
la-
them,
he's
it's me.
laughing at
Right,
you.
yeah.
He's laughing at you.
Forget,
Yeah.
He's laughing
forget
at
you, it's me.
You're right. Yeah,
You
it's
know?
you versus you in your head
Right.
always. You
Yeah.
know?
So it is always you versus you.
Always.
And I feel like when you take that approach in life, you know, to looking at it as it's a you versus you thing, you know, that other people are in competition. I feel like the people that aren't going to get to where they want to get in life are always in competition with everybody else in a negative way. But when you're there to uplift who's around you by being successful yourself, you know, I feel like that's the feedback that you want to, that's the vibrational, you know, positivity that you want to give off to people in life, in my opinion.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, we're up against a concrete hard system as far as like looking at other people's lives
Yeah.
and being depressed with our lives, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
It's all fake.
All those things are computer generated to portray a certain like algorithm that'll show you a life that may not be yours. And then you sit here and you just are looking at that and you're looking at all the cars and all the women that someone may be around or all the friends that someone may have. And you have no idea, but that person may be miserable. Those friends may not be their friends. Those cars may not be their cars.
Yeah.
And those girls may not even want to be there.
Listen, you can't buy happiness, man.
Forget it might not be yours. It might not be their life.
Yeah, it might
You know,
not.
it
It
might
might
not
not
be
be
their
there.
life.
And then, again, like you said, you don't know what's going on in that person's head.
Right.
You see the cars, you see the money,
the
whatever.
highlights.
You see that, right? You see the highlights exactly, and you have no idea when behind closed doors in there when they're alone, what's going through their head,
Right.
right?
And that's
So,
most of the time.
Yeah.
You hear those stories.
Most of the
you know.
time.
Yeah.
Most of the time you hear those stories. And I never understood that because, you know, I've always worked hard. You know, we all work hard. And when you have nice things, like, I don't know, I could speak for myself, to put all that out. I mean, it's nice to show positive things and, like, to be successful and, you know, look what you can get by doing the right thing in life, in business. But I don't know. A lot of those people that, post on social media, you know, they do it, I feel like, I don't know what reason it's for, you know.
Again, it's to show a lifestyle, right? To show that everything's all good. They don't show any of the downside of their life, right? Of how they got there or what they're going through personally. And also, you can't look at somebody else to give you happiness either, right? So if it's the women or whatever it is, that's not what's gonna make you happy at the end of the day. You might fulfill something temporarily in that moment, but it's up here, man. Everything you feel, that's who you are, man. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like, so you could portray all this, but at the end of the day, you hate yourself, right? And you're doing that just to try and, you know, show something else to try and cover up with how you really feel. That's you're masking your problems, right? It's never you're not, you know, you're in the same position as anybody else. Just looks better from the outside.
The guy that doesn't show anything, that has less, is in a better position because he's okay with where he's at in life. You know, instead of being in a different situation, portraying something that you can't keep up with or that your friend has that you want to have because whatever it is, you know, you got to be yourself always.
Yeah, you're masking insecurities. That's really all it is. And it's weird though, like the online money space now is like,
Louis, we got a private guest coming in.
Louis. Louis.
Hang out for a few, cuz.
but no, bro, the online money space it's like almost necessary to do those things because like that's how you make your money online. You have to perceive a certain type of image to get people to believe in you to buy your
product,
course,
yeah.
to spend money on your product.
Yeah.
If you have just some dry ass page, you're not on vacations,
Who's
you don't
buying
have
that
watches,
shit?
you don't have courses, how are you going to influence an 18 to 22-year-old kid to spend money on your product?
Yeah.
It's like you have to show the Lambos, the yachts, the vacations, the watches, the girls, because now you're painting an image to your target audience to go and spend money on your product.
That's how you
So
draw
it's
them
like
in.
a continuous facade. It's only going to get worse now. Like we see it all the time. And like some of these guys are actually living that life, and
of
then they're
course.
just showcasing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then there is obviously a large portion of these people that
It's a facade.
it's rented. It's not their watch.
Yeah.
It's they're just on a yacht with their friend. It's not but it's a weird thing now with social media. It's like you have to almost keep up with the Joneses to
literally. That's
to
what I say, yeah.
excel in your business.
I'm trying to keep up with Dean Franzese, man, because I got to keep up with myself sometimes. I feel like you get so busy, like with doing things that don't even, I don't know. I catch myself doing things like, why am I doing this sometimes? And like, you got to sometimes take a step back and be like, all right, I got to focus on what I'm good at, what I know, the things that are gonna help me obviously get to the next level. With which is whatever I envision that next level is for myself.
It's
in
competition
life,
you're in competition with yourself.
Yeah, like you never stop. When I say like
Down to
you got to catch up, I got to catch up to me. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm doing things like
you're focusing on things that are taking up time that you should be
Correct.
focusing that time on something more important in your
exactly.
mind.
Exactly.
So you're stressing out while you're doing like, why am I doing this? I should be doing something else.
Right.
Even though it's not a something else that's really on your mind. It's just feeling like I'm wasting my time doing what I'm doing right now. Or I should be doing something else. So that's. I think we all do that throughout the day.
That comes
there's
with
so
success,
many.
though, man.
Yeah, there's so much time in the day, and you always feel like shit. I didn't get it. I didn't get this done. Right? You know what I mean? And even when we were coming here, I was like, shit, man, I got so much to do. You know what I mean? Tomorrow's another day. You're gonna get to it. No one's going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just do what you can. Otherwise, yeah. But you're fighting yourself every day with that.
But I look at it like I feel like there are also people that sometimes it's not that you have nothing to do, but like how don't you have those? None of us, I feel like, are where. I mean, people might be happy with where they're at in life. I mean, I feel like anybody at 30 years old, unless you hit something big, like if you inherited money or if you hit some crazy financial thing in life, maybe you figured it out. But how could you be okay with where you're at? I know for me, speaking from a business standpoint, at our age, or at least at my age, that's how I feel about myself, because there's so much more to accomplish. Yeah, we might have hit milestones, of success, based on where we're at now, but I feel like there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
And the people that get complacent or get okay with where they're at, I feel like that's not a good quality to get to where you want to be. I mean, I know that, yeah, we've seen success in our business. We've all, done well at what we do, but I feel like there's always that next level. And I'll never, like we've said so many times on the podcast, I'll never be okay with where I'm at. And that doesn't mean you're not happy with where you are in life. That just means that you have something in you that always, I feel like, pushes you to get to that next
You
level.
got that fire in you
Yeah,
just
that
to
fire.
keep going.
I feel like we all have that.
You can't stop here.
It's
I didn't
never
come
okay.
this far to come this far, right? Like this is where I'm at now. There's no way this is the end.
Right.
Exactly.
We got so much more to go. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And things to build with your boys, with your family, with your friends. You got to look forward to that stuff. I mean,
My selfishness sometimes in business and in life is for selflessness, because I feel like the more you do as people, it becomes better for everybody else.
Absolutely.
Sometimes. So, like if you see people around you struggling and you don't sit there and take action, you're just as guilty as those people. Right. So why not set the right example?
100%.
Why not take those next steps and do the things that you need to do, which might help them do what they have to do.
There's no better
That's-
feeling
yeah, of
than
course.
helping others succeed or accomplish their goals, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? That's why, from my standpoint, I always love working with a team, working with others, because you feed off each other, right? I love seeing Jared do good. I love seeing when Dean's crushing it. That helps everybody around you. You know what I mean? Keep going and keep doing what you love.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's huge,
I
obviously.
know you create your environment, but your environment also creates you, I feel like. And
Depending on where you're at, you could be just complacent and just show up every day and just go through the motions. Or you could be around people that push you and make you take your situation to the next level, right? Get you out of your comfort zone. That's what it comes down to.
we all grew up around people like that, even in the business you started in.
Yeah. That initially,
drive.
that drive was, it comes from a young age. And again, like I said, our families too, same thing, all hardworking, people that we all grew up with. They used to push me, you know what I mean? Nothing's ever going to be handed to you. You got to work for it. I learned from a young age. I was working at 12 years old. You know what I mean? Not like I had to. My parents didn't force me to, but they taught me what it was for the responsibility. And I actually wanted that responsibility, believe it or not. So for me, that's something that I just, that's been in my mind forever. Just keep going, keep pushing, keep taking yourself to the next level. And the people around you makes a difference, right? Who you're with. It really does.
And I'll tell you right now, and this may be controversial, but for the young people out there, a life coach is not going to make you feel any better about yourself.
Yep, you got to do the work.
I guarantee you don't pay that life coach 1 month, it's done. You get no advice.
Yeah.
Right? And not to say that everyone has someone that they can go to
Right.
to speak about their problems or what they, get good advice from them. I'm blessed to have uncles and aunts and
You have a great support
a
system.
father that's there and gives me great advice on everything that I should listen to more. But if I didn't have that, I would not be spending $300 a month on a life coach that has no idea who I am as a person
Yeah.
and what I'm struggling with.
Yeah,
You know
like,
what
do
I'm
they
saying?
really care about who you
Do they
are
really care about
as a
you?
person?
Like I said,
I'm
don't
sure there's
send-
some people that
Don't
might.
send that Zelle 1 month. I guarantee you have no advice.
You're not hearing from that guy.
You're not hearing from
Yeah.
from anyone.
Yeah.
You'll probably get an email from them saying we're going to cancel your membership.
Yeah, it's probably not. A lot of those people probably aren't genuine. I'm sure there's people out there that actually are genuine that want to help people because that's just
course.
like a natural given, thing that some people have inside them. But yeah, a lot of other people I'm sure look at it just from a monetary standpoint that, I can make money by saying I'm going to help this person and not help them. That's the easiest way to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I decided a couple of months ago that that's something I would like to entertain in my life, helping people, helping young salespeople, young entrepreneurs, I naturally always, growing up, and I feel like we're all similar people in that regard, always cared about what the other person was doing and why is he not doing good or how could I help him do better. A lot of people probably don't have that, that mindset, and that's why they're doing it.
Correct.
You're 100% right. The whole internet world nowadays is people that feel like they could provide a service, but is there really value in their service?
Right.
They might not be doing it for the right intentions.
Right.
So
and then, like you said, it's not everyone because
Nah,
there
it can't
are
be everyone.
great
There
people
definitely
out
there's
there
some
that-
good people out there, absolutely.
Yeah.
But for the majority,
Zach, what's next, bro? I know we got some good stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I mean, that was a good segue into the next one. So the next one is some people are simply not can't read. Some people are simply the wrong match for you. You will only ever be as great as the people you surround yourself with. So be brave enough to let go of those who keep bringing you down. You shouldn't force connections with people who constantly make you feel less than worthy. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable and insecure every time you're with them for whatever reason, they're probably not close friend material. If they make you feel like you can't be yourself, or if they make you less than, in any way, don't pursue a daily connection with them. If you feel emotionally drained after hanging out with them or get a small hit of anxiety when you are reminded of them, listen to your intuition. You don't have to exile them from your life, but you can give yourself space. Set boundaries, make yourself a priority. There are so many right people for you, those who energize you and inspire you to be yourself. It makes no sense to constantly force it with people who are the wrong match for you.
Yeah, they wouldn't last in our friend group.
No, they
those
wouldn't.
ain't our friends. Those ain't our friends.
Nah, listen, I feel like that's a great thing to speak about because there's so many people that aren't for people in life. Like you just said, our friend group. I'm sure there's a lot of people that wouldn't be able to tolerate, the jokes.
The jokes.
and how we talk to each other and with a sense of humor sometimes. And I feel like, and we've experienced this, there's some people that just can't handle it.
Right.
And it's from I feel like it's from a loving, standpoint. It's not from like, anybody dislikes each other. That's just how some of us
Of
are
course,
to each
there's
other.
an extreme to that.
Yeah,
you
of
know.
course.
If that paragraph was, I'm sure it was assuming that person has not been in your life, has not done great things for you, or been there for you through your hard times. So, yeah, of course, you don't want to be around someone
No.
that does not have your best interests and,
No.
is not okay with themselves, so they reflect that on everyone else that they're around. I like to call that a fun sponge. Somebody like that who just absorbs, sucks up all the fun. And, oh, you want to go here now? That place is terrible. I was there last week. You guys shouldn't go there.
Get Debbie down.
Right.
Debbie
Debbie
Downer,
Downer,
yeah.
Yeah, listen, like I know, at least for myself, I can speak from, I was never one to have a ton of friends. I always had a smaller group of individuals, that I was close with, as opposed to having, a lot of acquaintances. I'll be respectful to everybody. I always, will shake somebody's hand, but, I was always one to have a smaller group of friends, and that's because of just like you said, not everybody's made for everybody, and from a friendship standpoint, not a relationship standpoint, and you eventually, I feel like, find those people that you have similar qualities with, whether it's your attitude or how you are or your business or anything. Once you meet those people and you realize, like, all right, these are my people, I feel like that's just how life works.
Yeah.
Not everybody, again, can deal with or tolerate how some people are, and that's just life.
No,
I
if
feel
I'm
like,
if I'm joking on you, if I'm walking past you and bumping you, if I'm grabbing you
What
up
did you
quick,
do today at the office? You saw that video. What Jared? You saw.
well,
You have no idea. I was walking down the staircase in the office, and he thought it was me, and there was somebody in front of me. So he jumped out. He jumped out.
Oh,
and it was a random person. He thought it was me.
He gets me. Jared gets me every time with that jump.
But if I'm making fun of you, if I'm grabbing you, if I'm wrestling with you, if I'm pushing you when I pass you, that means I love you, and that's just that's a part of me. That's how a part of me shows my love towards you.
I punch you in the face. I love
Right,
you.
right. And guess what? I'm gonna wipe the blood off your lip, But I'm also gonna be the person that's there no matter what.
No matter
when
what.
you have anything to talk about, no matter where it is, no matter where I am, no matter what it is, I'm gonna be that person that you talk to, and I'm gonna be the person to build you up, So the people closest to you, you'll know.
Yeah,
you know. There's gonna be no question.
You can see the
about
fakeness
it.
right through that,
Correct.
right through the bullshit.
It also changes like over time too. You know what I'm saying? Like there could be the right people at the right time for a certain period of your life, and then like people outgrow each other. Like friendships, relationships, all that shit has seasons. So there's a lot of times that we have friends that we grew up with and we were super close. Like that was your best friend. Parents knew each other. And, as you got older, like you decided to go this way, they went that way. And you think because the connection and the friendship was so strong when you were younger, like you owe them some type of loyalty. And that's the hardest thing to do is like when you know that a friend is not good for you anymore because they decided to go down the wrong path, but your history and your loyalty towards them is so strong that you feel like you need to keep them in your life. And that's one of the hardest things to do is like let go of those friends that shouldn't be in your life anymore because they're bringing you back. Mm-hmm. And like I know we've all had to make those decisions. Like none of us probably have the same exact friends from middle school. Obviously there's a few that like decided like you guys still are connected, but there's a lot of friends that we don't speak anymore, and you see like where they ended up in their life, and like you have to be able to let go of those people. And a lot of the times like that's how you get yourself in trouble is hanging on to those people, and then you get involved in a situation or a time and you end up getting burned, and that's not even like your character, the situation that you put yourself in. It's because you are hanging around the wrong people, and you got to just know when like to cut the tie and just let people do what they do, and you'll be so much better off that way.
Yeah.
That's a hard part of life, man, because I've been guilty of that myself, where, like, you'll expect loyalty from a certain person that you haven't seen in 10 years. You'll hear something or whatever it is, and then you're like, why would they do something like that? But most people don't operate that way. Most people don't operate that way, and then you'll take that personal, or you'll let something affect you when, like you said, you got to learn to cut certain things loose in life. And, it's hard to do that, when you had a certain relationship or, things were a certain way. It's hard to see change, in certain ways. So, that's my take on things. But what else we got, brother? I know we got some.
What's Gio got on that one? Want to hear
Gio, man?
Gio's.
Listen, people like you said. I like the thing that you said, but like people have seasons, right? So, obviously, as you get older, there's people that were in your life at some point that you thought were going to be there forever, right? You thought that was your person or that was your boy. And like you said, whatever may come as time goes on, you kind of go your own paths, right? And maybe whether it's a career choice or whether you had an argument or whether he hit on your girl, whatever it may be, you start to realize they didn't really have a genuine, love for me. They didn't really they didn't have my best interest in mind, and you start to realize that. And I think you start seeing through that as you get older, as you go through more experiences. Especially when you're going through tougher times, those people that are there during the struggles, those are the people that stuck around, right? When your phone didn't ring and you disappeared for a couple months and no one heard from you, and you could have been in the hospital, could have had something. That's when you're like, you know what? Where was he? Where are they at? Right. I was there for them during this and this, and it just shines a light on something a little bigger than life. Is just like sometimes the people that you think are there aren't there. Sometimes you just have your family, you just have your 2-3 close friends. Right. The older I got, the smaller my group got. Yeah. I got 2 or 3 friends from back in the day, from middle school, from growing up. If I didn't get in this business, I wouldn't have met Dean, I wouldn't have met Jared, I wouldn't have met Gabe, I wouldn't have met any of these guys. That, to me, again, everything happens for a reason. These are my boys now. I don't know where I'd be without you guys. Like, it's crazy, but it's true. Like, so life just takes you places. And I think, like you said, you drift away from those people that maybe just not right for you. Like, again, they worked for that time. That was who you were then. and you outgrow them.
Right.
And you keep it moving, man. That's it.
No, that's what Nick said on one of our first episodes, that maybe it's not the right time. Not that they're bad people, but it's not always the right time for those people to be in your life. Maybe it's a different path, or maybe they went down a path that you don't think you should go down. Again, doesn't make them or us bad people, but not everybody fits at a certain time. That's just how life is.
And misery loves company. So those people that you think are there for you and that you think are in your circle, they want to bring you down with them. So if you start to see those early signs of betrayal or any type of a bad feeling with that person, you have to expect that it's going to get worse. And the only way, most of the time, that you're going to get out of that is when something happens and you're like, damn, why did I wait this long to get this person out of my life, and look what it cost me now?
Yeah. Like you said, usually it's a bad situation that breaks you apart,
Yeah. It's not other people's job to love and respect you. It's yours. It's important to be nice to others, but it's even more important to be nice to yourself. You really have to love and respect yourself to get anything done in the long run. So make sure you don't start seeing yourself through the eyes of those who don't value you. Know your worth even if they don't.
Facts.
I love that.
If you don't love yourself, nobody can love you.
Yeah, like I was saying before, like you got to bring that happiness into a relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else? You know what I mean? You're gonna take that anger out that you have for yourself on that other person. It doesn't deserve it. So if you don't love yourself, if you're not happy with yourself and who you are, no one else is gonna change that.
Right.
It's the personal development journey, man. That's like this whole thing. Doing the work every single day, which gets tough. The days you don't want to go to the gym, the days you don't want to do the right thing, the day you don't want to eat healthy, which for me is like almost every day, which is not good. You have to eventually just make better and more consistent decisions, and that just leads to better results. Everybody always wonders why they got there and how they got there, but if you look at the little things that you did to get to that point, that's the answer to the test.
Yeah, look at your pattern.
Yeah, look at the patterns.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. They just think, like, how did I get here? Well, that's how you got here. You did A, B, and C, which got you here. So that's an awakening part of life, when things happen and you're like, again, how did this happen?
And
Well,
and like you
how it
said,
happened.
no one owes you anything.
Yeah.
No one owes you
Nope.
love or respect, right? You got to earn that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
how we grew
If you
up.
don't treat somebody the right way, why should they treat you the way you want to be treated? You don't reciprocate that. So I'm gonna give you what you're giving me, and that's how people go through life. That's why some people have respect and some people don't. That's why, you know what I mean. That's how you handle yourself throughout life. Again, that's your pattern. You know what I mean. So I think I'm a big guy on respect. You know what I mean. So I've always, if you're do something the wrong way one too many times, like you said, fool me once, shame on me, or fool me twice. I forget what that line is.
Shame on
we
you.
want shame on you.
Fool me twice, shame on me. Yeah.
So
Is
it's
that J. Cole?
so listen, that's what it is. You gotta learn from that. Sometimes it hurts, because like you said, other people let you down, but they don't owe you shit, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Even when you do the right thing,
Right.
can't expect that back, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's like the self-love thing is weird because I feel like that's why a lot of like relationships and shit don't work out, because it's like two people that aren't actually happy with themselves, and they get with someone because they finally like feel something, and then they put all of their happiness in someone else when it's not really even genuine. And if you can't be happy with yourself and you put your happiness in another individual, what happens to you when that person walks out of your life? Now
bad
you're
place
left
to
with
be.
nothing.
It's a bad place to
So
be,
that
yeah.
that's why it's like very important to do that. And a lot of people make that mistake. They like put their happiness in a job, in a career, in a friend, in a relationship, a girl, whatever. And it's like you can't put your happiness in something else. You can't put your self-worth and your self-respect, self-love in something else, because like everything has seasons. Everything is, it's temporary. Everything in life is temporary. Like people are going to come, people are going to go, and it's like you're embedding yourself into something that's not sustainable. So once that's not there anymore, you don't have nothing.
Yeah.
Listen, it's easier said than done, but you have to either love yourself. If you don't love yourself as much as you should at that moment, you at least have to respect the fact that you are who you are. How could you expect someone else to even like you if you're not being yourself? If I know I'm acting like a goofy and I'm just not being myself, I would be looking at me like, who's that jerk off? I wouldn't expect for that person to like me because that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you
Well,
love
that's why we
yourself-
always check each other. You know?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying, man?
That's right.
That's why we always
That's
check
right.
each
Don't make
other.
me check you right now.
No matter what's going on, man.
All right, next one. What you own is not who you are. Stuff really is just stuff. It has absolutely no bearing on who you are as a person. Most of us can make a great life with much less than we think we need. That's a valuable reminder, especially in a hugely consumer-driven culture that focuses more on material things than meaningful connections and experiences. To paraphrase Terrence McKenna, you have to create your own culture. Don't watch too much TV or YouTube. Don't read every fashion tip online. And don't consume too much of the evening news. Find the strength to fill your time with meaningful experiences. The space and time you are occupying at this very moment is life. And if you're worrying about Kim Kardashian or LeBron James or some other famous face, then you are disempowered. You're giving your life away to marketing and media trickery, which is created by big companies to ultimately motivate you to want to dress a certain way, look a certain way, be a certain way. This is tragic. This kind of thinking, it's just all Hollywood brainwashing. What is real is you and your friends and your family, your loves, your highs, your hopes, your plans, your fears, etc.
Yeah, I like that, man, because I've talked about it a lot in the last couple of months that life's all about experiences, and it's not about obviously the stuff that you have, because some of us have had all that stuff, and then when you don't have all that stuff, you realize that that's not what it's about. You know, I was always one to like the nicer things in life. That's just who I am, and that's not what makes me happy, because that stuff doesn't make you happy, and I've experienced that also. You know, but I've realized so much the last year or so that yeah, life's about experiences, about all the stuff that you do with your family, about having people like us to come together, and yeah, being around good people, you know, and giving back, and you know, giving value to people in your life, you know, as opposed to you know having something cool, you know,
Yeah.
that comes and goes, you know, all of those nice things in life.
It's the items don't make you who you are. It's not gonna make you happy because once you have that, whether it's the nice car, whether it's, you know what I mean, the nice house, whatever it may be, once you have it, okay, now what?
Right.
What's next, right? So you hear that from a lot of successful people, that once you get to the point where you can buy anything, you realize that's not what's really making you happy. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's the little moments that you have, right? It's, you know, again, just family, friends, surrounding yourself with good people, right? Just taking life in as it comes, as opposed to just chasing something, chasing an item, chasing something else. Because once you get there, it's not enough. Never enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that we just had on the podcast, the guy Alex G, day trader, you know, we asked him, we were like, how has money changed you? Because, I mean, bro, you go to this guy's house, he has a Lamborghini twin turbo, Porsche 911 GT3, Tesla Cybertruck, Lambo truck, Richard Mille on his wrist, crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like boats. This guy has everything you ever want. So I asked him, I was like, how has money changed you? This guy's probably made $50 million. And he's like, money hasn't changed me. It just made me more of who I am. He was like, when I was a 17-year-old kid, he's like, I was drifting in a fucking Infinity. He's like, now I'm just drifting in a Porsche. He was like, you know, I can go and buy the Lambo and stuff like that, and it's cool, but it hasn't changed me because, like, this, I've always loved cars. I always like watches, you know? So, like, and that's another, like, if you're buying these things, I mean, and, like, I'm speaking, like, from someone, I have never bought any of these things either, but I can only imagine, like, if you're buying these things because you genuinely like them, like, that's one thing, but a lot of people, like, buy things to paint an image of how they want other people to portray them.
Yeah.
You know, like
What they
you
think
weren't
is-
even a car guy, and it's like you're just buying the car
Paint
just
the
to buy
picture,
the
this is
car,
the
you know, or
successful
like
life.
you don't even know what a watch is, but you know, Rolex, or so I have to get this now. I feel like a lot of, because like I've been around a lot of people with money now, like doing the podcast and shit. Like I've been in Miami and LA, and you're around people with fuck you money, and Jake and I are always in these rooms, and like we're just looking at a lot of these guys, and I'm like a lot of these people, like, bro, you're not who you say you are, you know. But online, you show the watches, the cars, the money, and
what we see.
it's funny because like you get on with a camera and a microphone, the lights are on, and like people they can't even fucking speak. But it's like you get on Instagram and everything's planned and portrayed a certain way, and it's like a lot of people live a facade. So yeah, I just feel like a lot of people do those things to perceive themselves a certain way to the public, when it's like that's not who you really are, like deep down.
And I think
you
that's
know?
obviously been more of a thing since social media hit. I feel like it's more so now than ever. is, like you said, keeping up with the Joneses. You know, it's just portraying this life. Like, this is the life that you should live, right? That you want to live. And like I said, we all grow up. We all like nice shit. But yeah, once you get it, once you have it, does that change you? Does that, you know, you're still the same person. You still got the same thoughts, right? You're the same person. So like you said, it just that doesn't buy that buys a temporary fix, right? It portrays the life you want to portray, but doesn't mean you're living the life you want to live.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right, last one. Everything changes every day. Embrace change and realize it happens, and it can be managed.
We're gonna have to restart, bro.
Why?
I'm sorry.
It's a podcast. I don't care. Embrace change and realize it happens, and it can be managed. It won't always be easy at first, but in the end, it will be worth it. Acceptance is the first step forward. What you have today may become what you had by tomorrow. You never know, things change, often spontaneously. People and circumstances come and go. Life doesn't stop for anybody. It moves rapidly and rushes from calm to chaos in a matter of seconds. And happens like this to people every day. It's likely happening to someone relatively nearby right now. Sometimes the shortest split second in time changes the direction of our lives. I can't say that word. I don't know what it is.
Obnoxious.
Yeah?
No.
Decision rattles our whole world like a meteorite striking Earth. Entire lives have been swiveled and flipped upside down for better or worse on the strength of an unpredictable event, and these events are always happening. However good or bad a situation is, it will change. That's the only thing you can count on. So when life is good, enjoy it. Don't go looking for something better every second. Happiness never comes to those who appreciate what they have while they have it.
Yeah, the one thing I've learned, you know, as I've continued to grow in my old age here, is that you can't control what happens in life.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what happens, you know, it's always the things that are unexpected that you're like, how did this just happen? How did I get here? And that goes back to what we were just talking about. You know, sometimes you create your outcome, but also life, like the main part of life, I feel like, is that things are always going to happen to you that are out of your control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And once you realize how to be okay with that, and I don't know if you ever will be okay with that, you know, that's I feel like one of the biggest obstacles you have to go through as a human being, because something could happen at like the blink of an eye. You can get a phone call right now that something that you didn't expect to happen happened, and that's just life. You know, that's my take on things. I mean, like, I don't know. You can't control everything. We can control so many things ourselves by making good decisions and building a good habit system, but there are always going to be things you can't control.
Change is inevitable, right?
Change is
It's always going
inevitable.
to happen. It's always going to be a time where your life changes. Again, it could be at a split second, could be gradually over time, could be a career change, could be a divorce, could be whatever it may be, having kids, right? But change is always happening, you know? I mean, and it's how you deal with it. It's how you bring yourself to it, accept it, or shy away from it and put yourself in a deeper hole. You know what I mean? Depending on what that change is. I know me personally. I mean, I've gone through career changes where I was going from, it's kind of starting over again from one industry to another after a couple years of trying to figure it out and figure myself out and what my calling was. And those were some challenging times. Am I making the right decision? Should I stay in the union and just keep that job, that I did when I was 18 years old? And should I still be there? No, that wasn't who I was. I realized that after a year or two of doing it, that this isn't my calling. This isn't what I should be doing every day, right? And then just kind of learning learning who you are as you go. That's change. Those changes in your life define you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it depends on how you roll with it. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with your outlook on, like I said from the first question, your outlook on life. You know, if something happens, listen, you could read Instagram quotes all day, positivity quotes. You can get a call tomorrow that someone passed away and your whole world could change.
Yeah.
You could just get rocked. And you never know what you're going to feel until you are in that moment.
Right.
You prepare yourself as much as you can beforehand. You could tell yourself you're going to do this and that, and then if something happens and it goes completely
different. Yeah.
You know, for me, I remember getting the call. My grandfather passed away. I was at work, and I thought my grandmother was calling me just on a regular call. She always calls me, and I heard that news, and I went from a split second of being the happiest person to a complete mess.
Yeah.
Because in that second,
Shock.
everything changed for
Yeah.
me.
Nothing else mattered. That was all you
You know,
could
I never
focus
be
on.
able, in my mind, I'm like, damn, he just called me the other day. I missed his call. I said to myself, I'll call him back. I'll have a chance to call him back.
He asked for a vanilla Coke. I remember the story.
No, that's Pop, but my grandfather.
Oh, your
Yeah,
grandfather.
that's
Oh, your
Pop.
grandfather. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
my
yeah,
grandfather. Sitting in the office. Next thing I know, I get a call. Boom, I go downstairs and
We were at lunch with him a couple
right?
months before, talking
Yeah.
about real estate, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, just
People think and a lot of complacency in people's lives, I think, has to do with the fact that they put a number on how long. We all put a number on how long we're gonna live. We all think the life expectancy is 80. If I get to 90 or 70, that'd be great. You don't even know if you're gonna live tomorrow. You don't know if God's gonna give you the ability to wake up tomorrow. So, do what you need to do now.
Yeah.
Make sure you reach out to those people that you love now.
Yeah.
Make sure you reunite those relationships that you let go for nothing now if you feel like you're going to regret them down the line. And just continue to be happy. Just waking up, leaving your bag, or coming home from work, leaving your baggage at the door.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing
That's
too.
the biggest thing. Is
Leave that
leaving
shit there, man.
Leave your baggage at the door.
Yup.
And
Leaving problems at the door. I had,
Leave 'em at
I had
the
a boss
door.
that used to tell me, he goes, you come to the office, he goes, there's an imaginary box outside. Drop your problems in that box. He goes, don't bring it into the office.
because no one wants to hear your shit.
send an email tomorrow.
Yeah.
Drop your problems in the box before you come in the office.
For real.
And
Yeah.
no one,
funny.
honestly speaking, like you hear a joke all the time, like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm great, but I would complain, but who would listen? And that's true. Like, people will listen to your complaints, but my grandfather would tell me, if you threw your problems in the air with 10 other people, I guarantee you'll grab yours back down. Because you never know what that other person is going through.
Yeah.
So as long as you stay positive, you continue to do what you do every day and build yourself to be a better person.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. You guys ever saw the Butterfly Effect?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ashton Kutcher? Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Great movie.
But it's crazy. Like, we don't think about the decisions we make that are going to lead to change, and like those decisions not only change your life, but they change the trajectory of everyone else's life around you. So like, when we wish for things to be different in this moment, it's like, okay, well, this could be different, but you don't know what else could be different for everyone else, or like what could change 5, 10, 15 years later. So it's like, just be grateful for like what you have right now, because like things are subject to change, but they're going to change in your favor if you're living the right way. A lot of people, they don't live the right way, or they wish things were different, and it's like you don't think about your actions daily. So the change in your life is going to be negative, but it's like, think about if you went into life with that positive mindset and you actually did work your ass off every day, like, yeah, life is going to change, but it's going to change in your favor.
Yeah,
A lot of people think like it's just a very negative connotation, like just on life in general, that people carry with them throughout the days, and like not many people, like we spoke about, like just gratitude and stuff like that.
Or you're looking at somebody else and you're wishing you had what that person had, but you might be able to grab that, but who knows what else they're dealing with.
Right.
So like, just a funny thing, me and Krista were out to dinner the other night, and I don't know how it came up, but I was like, damn, what I do to be 6 foot tall? She goes, yeah, you could be tall, but you might be ugly then. You don't know. I said, that's a good point. She goes, at least you're good looking now. I said, all right, thank you.
Right.
But it's true. You don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's true. Yeah, you can't look at other people and want something else because you don't know what
You always want what they have till you
Yeah,
have it.
till you
Then
have
you're
it.
like, oh,
Exactly.
I got to deal with this.
Yeah.
100%.
That's a part of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was cool, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time to
Yeah, this was a good
come
one.
on here again. This was a
Stuff.
good one. If I didn't say this in the beginning, if you guys could subscribe to the podcast, drop a comment. I appreciate everybody watching, and yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on, man. I look forward to
Here we
doing
go.
this
Do it again.
very soon.
Yes, sir.
Do it again.